This video is brought to you by Skillshare. The first 500 people to use the link in the description will get 2 months of Skillshare Premium free. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard are making some of the most inventive, exciting, and fun rock albums today. The Australian outfit released 5 albums in 2017 and have arranged 13 albums since their debut in 2012, and each one of them usually follows a central theme. Eyes Like the Sky is a spaghetti western audiobook. Quarters is made up of 4 tracks, each 10 minutes and 10 seconds long. Flying Microtonal Banana had the group alter their instruments to play the notes between notes, giving it a very Middle Eastern flair. They're not afraid to experiment musically, but it was King Gizzard's 8th album that caught the attention of critics and music fans. Delivering a mixed bag of rock, folk, jazz, and heavy metal, the 9 songs on the album seamlessly transition into one another. And if you happen to put it on repeat, its final moments connect perfectly with the opening track, effectively creating a never-ending album, a concept album. Nonagon Infinity. 2 years prior, King Gizzard released I'm in Your Mind, Fuzz. The first 4 tracks carried a very similar concept, sounding like a continuous 12-minute jam rather than individual pieces. For the boys, it sparked the idea of creating an entire album that didn't stop, something that was just one big song. They'd write a few new songs, some that simply didn't fit the concept, and it would cause them to half abandon the idea. They moved on and released Quarters and then the mellow all-acoustic Paper Mache Dream Balloon. Initially, Nonagon Infinity was slated to release before Paper Mache, but King Gizzard felt the project needed more time to brew. It's why Paper Mache was all acoustic and filled with short songs, so that it wouldn't interfere with their creative process on Nonagon Infinity. The 2 albums are complete sonic opposites. They began to consider that if all songs on an album were going to link together into one giant sequence, where would it end? And that's when the infinite looping album idea clicked. Crafting the album was the most difficult thing they'd ever done. It would be the most time they'd spend on an album since they'd have to conceptualize the entire album's progression before even recording it. In order to ensure each track synced properly, that meant a ton of rehearsing. They'd record each track separately, but played the last 30 seconds of the previous track as well as the first 30 seconds of the next track to help with aligning every piece later in mastering. And their crew did a damn fine job. On first listen, you'll find it difficult to identify where one song ends and the next one begins, and because the album revisits similar melodies, riffs, and motifs throughout, it feeds into that illusion of it being one grand song. And you'd think it would mean every song sounds the same, but you'd be wrong. It's virtually a 41-minute rock opera that takes you through a number of different phrases. They achieve this by venturing into new ideas musically, shifting time signatures, unique instruments like a sitar and zurna, and even a drum solo. When it comes to lyrical context, the group's frontman and lead songwriter Stu McKenzie is a sci-fi geek and drew inspiration from Frank Herbert's Dune series. There's no strong narrative thread through the album, but Stu attempts to trap us in this imaginary apocalypse. He's been crafting what fans are calling the Gizverse. Nonagon Infinity's cover art shares the same mountain and castle as 2 of their other albums, and there are even some musical motifs in Nonagon that are shared across their entire discography. But as of now, we really only have pieces of an incomplete puzzle, so just enjoy the music for what it is. Nonagon Infinity might just be King Gizzard's masterpiece. It showcased their dedication towards crafting something special with each album. One of the reasons why they're so prolific is because they'll try anything and see it through, if it means they'll have a cohesive album by the end of it. The entire album is an avalanche of sound, chugging away with a sense of urgency. There is structure in the chaos. It's this evil, fast thing with a crazy sense of fun. 9 songs that can be played forever. Nonagon Infinity, a concept album. Given the variety of sounds on the record and the standard of musicianship at work here, there's no doubt the boys in King Gizzard are proficient in music theory, mixing, and production. It's what really makes their music stand out. If that's your dream, I recommend Signature Sound's mixing music class. They've produced for bands like U2, Switchfoot, and Blink-182, and you can find the class on Skillshare. It's an online learning community with thousands of classes on everything from production to theory, where you can learn from real audio engineers and industry professionals. Use the first link in the description to get 2 months of Skillshare for free so you can create your own concept album today. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of a concept album. It's a new series where I plan on diving into some of the more modern concept albums of today. I started my channel with a King Gizzard video, and there was no better choice than King Gizzard to kick off this series. I mean, each one of their albums is pretty much a concept album of some kind, and Nonagon Infinity is what got me into them, and it's still my favorite album by them. So if you want to learn more about them, a kind of beginner's guide, follow the video on the screen. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like rating, subscribe to learn more about the music you love, and I want to give a big thank you to the boys over at Shuffle Quest for helping me put this one together. And that's it for me. Again, thanks for watching, and keep listening.